運が悪かったんだよ、お前らは。
Okay, here we go.
急ぎましょう、伊達さん。
Lots about to happen here.
時間がないです。早く。
須藤、お前こんなことして大丈夫なのか。
横浜で伊達さんに言われて気になったんです。それで自分で神宮を内定してみたら、神宮が世良とつながっていることが分かりました。あの100億は神宮の金だったんです。
そりゃ分かってる。
ですが私にはもっと別の裏があるように思えるんです。神宮はあの金を取り返して何に使うのか。
神宮の本当の目的か。
はい、別の組織とつながっているのかもしれない。東上会と MIA、 それ以外の組織の影を感じるんです。
刑事の勘ってやつか。
ええ、まあ私も。
It turned out he wasn't an antagonist after all. He just was misguided, but he found his sense as a true detective inspired by Date's actions in the end. Date truly is the hero of another story. I like her better with this hairstyle compared to the beginning of the game.
Yumi.
Kazuma. Haruka.
Haruka.
分かってる。はるか。お母さん。お母さんなんだよね。はるか。ごめんね。辛い思いさせてごめんね。お母さん。私ね。お母さんね。本当はあなたと一緒にいたかった。でもね、自分がお母さんだっていうことができなかったの。いいよ、お母さん、分かってるから。私嬉しいよ。おじさ
ん、よかったな、はるか。
おかえりなさい、カズマ。
ああ、遅くなって悪かったな、ユミ。なんだ。
きっと彼が来たのよ。奪われたものを取り返しに。
So here we finally get to see Yumi flex as a character, which is appreciated, even if it's all front-loaded at the very end of the fucking game here. Still nice to see. I like what we get.
久しぶりじゃないか、ユミ。それにハルか。
お前が神宮。
こうして会うのは初めてだね、桐生一馬君。初めましてと言うべきか、さようならと言うべきか。君には苦労させられたよ。
100億を取り返しに来たのね。
ああ、そうだ。当然の話さ。それはもともと私の金だからね。それに他にもいろいろ処分しに来たのさ。
何？
はるか。
Damn.
カズマ、おじさん。
神宮。お前。
バカな男だ。まあヤクザなど皆こんなものか。
お前、どうして自分の娘を撃てるんだ。
仕方ないことさ。その子供は私にとって邪魔者でしかない。私の今後、いや この国の今後のためには必要のないものなのだよ。
自分が愛した女とできた子、どうしてそんな簡単に。
カズマ、この人にはそんなこと言っても無駄よ。この人の頭の中にはそんな感情はないの。自分が出世することしか考えてない。
何を分かったようなことを言ってるんだ。私に捨てられた女に何が分かるというんだ。知ったような口を叩くんじゃない。
私にはわかるわ。どうして世良さんがあなたを裏切ったか。あなたは国のため、政治のためと言って全てを切り捨てて生きている。でもね、それは全部言い訳。結局は自分がのし上がるための理由でしかない。そんな信念はすぐに嘘と分かってしまう。
ふざけるな。お前や世良ごときに私の何が分かるというのだ。
ユミ、
あなたには何を言っても無駄ね。自分が恥ずかしくないの。
随分な言いようじゃないか。でももうそんなことはどうでもいい。ここでお前らは終わりなんだからな。
そうかな。まだ終わってへんのちゃうか。
寺だ。
これで力は五分五分や。風間さんの意志はまだ生きとるんやで。なんやねん。
これだから頭のない極道は困る。やる。
どういうことやお前ら。
あなたまさか。
そうだよ。私は東上界から近江連合にくら替えしたんだ。バックの組織をな。
なんだと。
私は着々と進めていたんだ。東上界を捨てて近江連合と協力関係を築く計画をね。
そんな話俺は知らんぞ。
当たり前だ。お前は近江連合の5代目に踊らされていただけなんだからな。もう1年前から話は進んでいたんだよ。5代目と私の間でね。私は世良が私を裏切ることは分かっていた。彼は融通の利かない男だったからね。理想を求めずっと私を支援してきてくれたが、結局は現実の前にくじけたんだ。
現実だと。
ああ、そうだ。君らに政治の話をしてもわからないだろうが、国を動かすには金と力が必要なのだよ。私にとって彼はその力だった。だが彼は変な信念のために私の理想から離れていったのだ。数年前殺してくれたと思っていたユミが生きているということを知った私はセラ、いや東上界を捨てる腹積もりでいたんだよ。
それでお前は近江連合にすり寄った。
そうだ。私は近江連合に話を持ちかけた。近江連合としては私の政治力は魅力だ。政治と裏社会、この2つを牛耳ることができたら日本を操ることなど造作もないことだからな。
もしかしてこの100億は。
ああ、近江へと渡る。私としては東上界も潰れてくれてまさに一石二鳥というわけだ。
じゃあ錦も踊らされてたっていうのか。
そうだよ。彼に100億の話を吹き込んだのは私だ。出世欲に取りつかれた若造に餌を見せて動かしただけだ。
Man, Nishiki just getting thrown under the bus and he's not even on screen.
セラの暗殺から内部構想までね。そして
So in the end, Nishiki was just used as a tool by Jingu.
君だ。君が現れてくれたおかげで東上界は崩
Fair.
壊寸前だ。本当にお礼を言いたい気分だよ。
シング、貴様。
A fair accusation if ever there was one.
悔しいだろう。だがな、もう遅い。私は近江連合と手を組み、日本国のトップに立つ。近江連合は裏社会を統一し、その全ての力を私が得る。私の理想が叶うのだ。
そんなことはさせないわ。
何を言っている。動くな。何？
Surprise, motherfucker, you just brought a gun to a bomb fight.
これ れが爆発すれば店の中にある100億も一緒に消えてなくなる。私は100億をあなたには渡さない。一緒に爆発してこの世から消すわ。
何をバカなことを言ってるんだ。そんなことをして何のメリットがあると言うんだ。
何にも分かってないのはあなたね。人間はそんな損得感情だけじゃ動かない。もっと熱い、もっと強い気持ちがあって初めて動くものなの。昔のあなたにはそんな気持ちがあった。だけど権力を持つことや出世することにあなたは溺れたの。
何を今さら何を言ってるんだ。
カズマ、はるかをこっちに。
Yes, closer to the bombs. Bring Haruka much, much closer to the explosives, please.
これでユミとハルカには手出しできねえな、神宮。なあ神宮、世良会長はな、あんたが何を考えているかなんてお見通しだったんだよ。
何？
会長はあんたに気づいてほしかったんだ。昔の強い信念があった時のあんた自身。だから自分の命を危険にさら
In this game of 4D chess, Jingu, it is you who have been checkmated.
バカな。何を
Because you
根拠にそん
see,
なことを。
this pawn just made it to the other end of the board.
風間さん、
Kiryu may have been a pawn for Kazuma, for Seta,
セラ、お前
in the
これ
game
名前が入って
against
る。
Jingu. But what happens when a pawn
俺は本来
reaches the end of the
登場
board?
界仕切る器じゃありません。金儲けしかできねえヤクザです。あとめは風間さんが決めてください。登場界を、極道の未来を託せ。
Before he died, Kazuma ensured that Kiryu would carry on his legacy in a position of power within the Tojo
遺
clan.
言状だと。
あんたは遺言状の存在を錦にちらつかせ、内部分裂を画策したんだろうが、本当にあったんだよ。会長とおやつさんが命がけで残したんだ。
うるさい。セラめ、この後に及んで私を舐めるような真似をしよって。そんなもん今となってはただの紙切れだ。
俺が死ねばなあ。だがそうはさせねえ。俺は風間のおやつさんや世良会長が残してくれたもんを守る。俺は登場界4代目桐生一馬だ。
Those subtitles ruining a perfectly good dramatic moment. I heard him say Kiryu Kazuma. Don't lie to me and say he said Kazuma Kiryu. So in his first act as 4th chairman of the Tojo clan, Kiryu is going to take out his gun and shoot all of these fuckers. Yeah, so apparently Terada's boss really sold him out here. One might imagine that Terada would be resentful of that fact. We'll see.
さすが一人でよくもそこまで頑張れるものだな。
何人でも相手になるぜ。
無理をするな。もう息も絶え絶えではないか。
藤川喜友、
伊達さん、
神宮恭平、今四課が逮捕状を請求した。贈収賄、銃刀法違反、殺人教唆。お前はもう終わりだ。
証拠は何もない。当たりだ。
Sorry, Date. I know you wanted to like be relevant to the plot, but this is not a place for police officers. Get out of here, Date. Come on. That was really cute, but yeah, come on. I don't know what you were expecting. So we really didn't get much from Yumi as part of the story, but what little we got here at the end with her involvement with the Jingu conspiracy and all that, I really like it. Like, Yumi is a fucking hardcore bitch. She really pulled out some stops and like had some good insight into the situation. You can tell that behind the scenes, she was doing a lot of shit in order to like assist in the plot. Whoa. Jesus. Fuck off, everyone. Unfortunately, Yumi never really gets elaborated on that much as a character, not in the same way that Nishiki does in Yakuza 0 and stuff like that. And I think it's a shame. I think Yumi has a lot of potential as a character. Like I said, she represents an aspect of Kazama's inheritance. It's clear that she is fucking sharp as a tack. She inherited Kazama's planning and his ability to manipulate the situation. In the end, Nishiki inherited his ruthless intent to do whatever it takes to whoever it takes in order to do what he needs done. But it's Yumi who ended up inheriting his intelligence and his ability to plan and set the dominoes in motion and string her web. Up to the point where she was willing to utilize her own daughter and do what had to be done to protect her daughter and keep her safe. When she knew that Haruka would be used as a pawn, she didn't have the ruthlessness necessary to use Haruka as a pawn herself, which Kazama likely would have done if he had known, if he had involvement. If it had been his daughter, he probably would have used Haruka against Jingu. But Yumi doesn't have that ruthlessness, that will to use her own daughter as a pawn. She prioritized protecting her daughter. So in the end, again, we see Kiryu inherited Kazama's benevolence, Yumi inherited his intelligence, and Nishiki inherits his ruthlessness. His will to do whatever it takes. So of course we have this final boss against Jingu here, and unfortunately, not so great of a final boss of antagonist. He literally shows up right at the end and is like, "Ah, it was me, Kiryu! It was me all along, Kiryu!" And like, I don't know. It doesn't really land for me. That's gonna be a no from me, dog. Jingu is like such a nothing villain. He has no motivation. He has no traction. He has no momentum in this plot. He just shows up right at the end and says, "It was me, Kiryu. It was me all along. I was the one who jerked you off, Kiryu. I jerked you off at super speed, so it seemed like you came at a woman's touch, Kiryu. It was me." And it's like, kinda weak, kinda lame, I gotta be honest with you. I'll go ahead and use this, why not? And this boss fight is just fucking atrocious, too, to be honest with you. To be entirely honest with you. This boss fight is awful. It's a flunky boss fight, and that's appropriate for his character, sure. It's appropriate for Jingu's boss fight to be based primarily around sending dudes at ya. I mean, like, that is the kind of villain he is. That's what he's been doing this whole time. Just, you know, setting things up from behind the scenes. But it still makes for a really annoying boss fight to play and fight and deal with. So, an unsatisfying boss fight for an unsatisfying villain that really, you know, kinda weak in terms of resolution of the plot. I mean, it's nice, you know, it gives traction for Yumi, and it has emotional resonance for Haruka, but ultimately, I don't think Jingu really lands as a villain, personally. That's just me, though, I guess. Perhaps. Perhaps that's just me. Imagine how frustrating this was to fight in the fucking PS2 game, by the way. You can't even imagine. Because it fucking sucked. Whoop. Doesn't even have it doesn't even have Doom music. It doesn't even have a cool final boss music. Jingu, sorry, but you're not a good final boss. You suck. We need a different. Fuck. Sorry, Jingu, but you were a terrible final boss. Not satisfying at all. We're gonna need you to just go, whoa, what the fuck? The hell? Shut the fuck up! What is this? Are you kidding me? Eat shit. Fucking Sony. Yeah, we're gonna need a better final boss here. We need someone to sub in and be a proper final boss. Jingu sucked. Who can we get in here to be a real final boss for the game? Ah, Nishiki, right on time.
終わったか。これでようやく落ち着けるな。
錦。
Poor Nishiki, man.
なんだそりゃ。爆弾か？ユミ、バカなことはやめろ。
ダメよ。100億はあなたに渡さない。
ユミ、お前そんなに俺のことが憎いのか。まあそうだろうな。当然の話か。
錦、お前まだ諦めていないのか。
当たり前だ。俺はどんな犠牲を払っても登場界の後目に。
Dude, we are so beyond that.
なあ錦、それは無理だ。お前神宮に踊らされていたんだ。神宮の本当の目的はな。
なことは分かってる。分かってたんだよ、俺は。
I don't believe you.
どういうこと？
言ったろ、キリュウ。俺は10年前、お前を裏切ったあの日から誰も信用しちゃいねえってな。神宮が俺に話を持ってきた時から信用しちゃいなかったんだ。
じゃあお前は全てを知ってた。
ああ、そうだ。俺は負けたくなかったんだよ。
I think he's just saving face. I don't think that's true at all. But this part is relevant.
キリュウ。俺はユミを愛してる。だがユミは一度も俺を振り向いてはくれなかった。ユミの中にはお前しかいなかった。10年前の事件の後、俺の目の前からお前という存在が消えた。その時俺は決意したんだ。運命を変えるためにどんな犠牲も払うってな。
その犠牲が親さんやレーナだったっていうのか。
そうだ。俺は100億を手に入れ登場界を継ぐ。そしてお前から弓を奪い返す。それで初めて俺の運命が変えられるんだ。
錦山君、やっぱり分かってない。
何？
そんなことして何になるの？そうやって変えた運命じゃ幸せになんてなれない。あなたは自分に都合の悪いことから逃げてるだけ。本当に運命を変えたいなら辛いことも全て受け止めて、それでも逃げないで立ち向かうことなんじゃないの？カズマやはるかのように。
うるさい。どうしてお前は俺を認めてくれないんだ。
錦、
なんだ。
俺にはお前の苦しさが
Yeah, he was cucked by Yumi too.
一番大切にしていたお前たち
Both of these men were cucked by Yumi.
戻ろうと思っても10年前に戻ることはできねえ。もうその運命から逃げることはできねえ。だから決着をつけよ
なあ、決着をつけよう。俺たちの戦いに。
Yeah, motherfucker. It's that part from the opening that I used. Will the Magikarp become a Gyarados? The final battle. Yeah! Time to get shirtless and beat the shit out of your former best friend! The way every Yakuza game must end! Let's make sure we're on equal footing here, Nishiki. It's all about getting shirtless. I mean, like, it's unavoidable that there is just a constant undercurrent of homoeroticism to the Yakuza series from the get-go. It's all about getting really, like, well-muscled men, buff, manly men, to get shirtless and throw down with each other. That's all what it comes down to. So yeah, in the end, like, I've peppered this throughout, but I mean, what has Nishiki really done throughout this game's story? He has been used, manipulated, and left by the wayside by everyone who was a true player at the table, up to and including Jingu and Kazuma, and Seta from Beyond the Grave. Nishiki has been left by the wayside. Kiryu was also a pawn. He was also being used by others in their own plan, and really never had any real influence or impact on what was going on beyond beating the shit out of absolutely fucking everyone in town. So they are on equal footing in that sense of both being equally kind of steered by other greater men's hands who are plotting around them. But Kiryu wants to find out the truth and is willing to do what has and is willing to go along and cooperate with the wider scheme in order to resolve the conflict. Nishiki is desperate to think that he's a player at the table, and he's just not. So in the end, at the end of all things, what has Nishiki accomplished? Nothing. What does Nishiki want to accomplish? I don't think he even really knows. He wants an empty title, an empty position of power within the Tojo, not because he even wants that power, not because he wants to run the Tojo and be the man who is in charge. He just wants to prove that he's better than Kiryu. He wants to prove that he's not just Kiryu's second, like the next best thing. And honestly, he's not even that. His only motivation at this point is proving that he's better than Kiryu. He doesn't want anything. He just wants to, he doesn't want anything tangible. He doesn't want to be in charge. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want titles. He doesn't even really want Yumi. What he wants is to be better than Kiryu. He wants to not be Kiryu's, inferior. He wants to prove that to himself and to the world. And the only way he can really articulate a way to do that is by climbing to the top of the ladder. Oh, if I'm the Tojo clan's 4th chairman, that will prove that I'm better than Kiryu. Kiryu's the Dragon of Dojima, I'm the 4th chairman. of the Tojo clan. Oh, Yumi's in love with Kiryu? I will be the woman that Yumi loves. She will be my woman. That will prove that I'm better than Kiryu. That's the only thing that's driving him at this point. In the end, Nishiki might be the final boss. And he deserves it. He deserves being the final boss. But he's not Kiryu's antagonist. He is not the one that has presented the conflict throughout the game up until this point. He is not the final obstacle that Kiryu has to overcome in order to seize his own destiny. Kiryu is Nishiki's final boss. Kiryu is Nishiki's antagonist. Kiryu is the person that Nishiki needs to defeat in order to free himself from the web that of fate that Kazuma and Jingu and all these other schemers have laid out for him. Kiryu is his mountaintop that he needs to climb to the top of. Nishiki is not that for Kiryu. This is Kiryu is not fighting his final boss right now. Nishiki is fighting his final boss. And like everything else in life, in his life, it's just not gonna work out for him. The Magikarp remains a Magikarp. And the Gyarados reigns supreme. Oh yeah, Nishiki had that. I forgot.
Kazuma!
You see? The emotional weight of calling him Kazuma. And also, here is Haruka absorbing all of this, all of the traits that these adults are giving off. Kiryu's benevolence, Yumi's intelligence, and Nishiki's ruthlessness. She is being exposed to all of it, and is being influenced by it, and will absorb it, and become the true successor of Kazuma's legacy by being able to utilize all of those strengths from these influences, these adults that are raising her, directly and indirectly.
でも誰だかわからない。すべてを思い出せない。そんなあなたのことを待ち続けることができなかった。
Yeah, got straight cucked. Little bit of a bummer.
だから神宮のことを。でもね、はるかは何もかも失った私にとってたった一つの宝物だった。だからはるかとお別れに行った時、思わずこのペンダントをあげてしまったの。
And turned her into a target.
一番大切なものを持っていてほしかったから。はるか、私のせいで怖い思いさせてごめんね。
Nah, I'm pretty OG.
カズマ、私。
You see why you're not supposed to call him Kazuma throughout the game? Because that's a big deal that she's calling him Kazuma. Subtitles! I like how the piano moves too. I don't know if I don't know if 10 billion yen would actually be that much of a stack of money. But I don't know. That seems like a lot of money. That seems like way more than 10 billion yen. Maybe it's just me. 10 billion, like, of $1, 1 yen bills? I don't know. I think you're just using really small denominations there. Oh, fuck.
やっと見つけた。私の金だ。どうした？何もできまい。お前らはこれで終わりだ。
錦
こんなやつに好きにさせてたまるかよ。
He's still twitching. That's so fucked up.
最後のけじめくらい俺につけさせろ。
やめろ。やめるんだ。錦錦
Nishiki's finally being a man and taking responsibility for his own goddamn actions. I would like to reiterate, I would like to point out though that there is no reason for Nishiki or any of them to assume that Kiryu and Haruka and them would survive this massive explosion. So Nishiki's there going like, you didn't win, fuck all of you, fuck everyone else in this room, I failed in my goals, I did not beat my final boss, I did not achieve my goals, fuck it, I'm out, and fuck everyone else in this room at the same time. I'm blowing everything up. How did they live? Look at the room they're in. How did they live?
しっかりしろ。
お母さん。ごめんね、はるか。やっとお母さんって言ってもらえたのに。
ユミ、10年前。いや、それよりずっと前から言えなくてすまなかった。好きだった。お前のことが。
カズマ、これあなたが持っていてくれたの。
シンジのやつが死ぬ前に錦から奪い返したんだ。
よかった。また帰ってきた。あなたが私にくれたたった一つのプレゼントだもんね。ありがとうね。私結局全てから逃げてたのかもしれない。あなたからも錦山くんからも。でもね、私後悔はないの。あなたを忘れないために。
I'm sorry to talk over it, but look at the rubble around them. How did they survive this explosion? I'm just saying.
この入れ墨を入れたの。月下美人、一夜でもいい、一目でもいいからもう一回カズマに会いたかった。その夢が叶ったの。 お母さん。はるか、いい？はるかはどんなことがあっても逃げちゃダメ。逃げたら私みたいに幸せ逃がしちゃうから。いい？絶対に逃げちゃダメ。
Yeah, so Kiryu's having a bad day. His father, Kazama, dead. His brother, Nishiki, dead. The woman he loves, Yumi, is dead. His entire world is over. Everything that gave his life value is gone.
動くな。そのまま手を挙げろ。桐生一馬だな。
おい、やめろ。
しかし
事情は後で話す。お前ら銃を下げろ。
桐生、お前は悪くねえ。だがこの山で逮捕されたらもうシャバに出れん。俺についてこい。
もういいんだ、伊達さん。弓も錦も風間のおやっさんももうみんないない。だから人思いに逮捕してくれ。
ふざけるな。お前の戦いはまだ終わってねえはずだ。かけがえのねえものを守り続けろ。逃げるんじゃね
え。かけがえのない。
そうだ。お前が無所に行けばこの子はまた一人だ。お前それでもいいのか。
伊達さん。
In the end, Date was there to pull him back from the brink. Where would Kiryu be without Date? An unlikely friendship.
来やがったな。
Between police officer and chairman of the Tojo Yakuza clan.
じゃあお前らしっかりやれよ。
行くぜ。
頼む。
ちゃんと終わったのかよ。襲名式と引退式は。
ああ、義理は果たしたつもりだ。
しかし聞いたことねえよな。組長の襲名披露と引退式が同時なんてよ。で五代目は誰にしたんだ？
まあ世良会長やおやっさんに恥ずかしくねえやつにしたよ。
誰なんだ？
まあ意外なやつだよ。
おい元会長、つけられてるぞ。
え
Yeah, I think there's a reason you wouldn't expect that choice, Kiryu. It's because that's a stupid fucking choice. Why would you do this anyway?
おい、もしかしてあいつが五代目なのか？
ああ、やつならきっちり登場会を立て直すさ。
No, he's not. What the fuck is wrong with you, Kiryu?
じゃあ行くぜ。
ああ、もう戻ってこないのか？
さあな。
Not for a
ま
year.
た伊達さんから呼ばれることがあれば来るかもしれないぜ。
そうか。だが残念ながらそれはないと思うぜ。俺はしばらく鞘と暮らしてみるよ。今までになかった家庭ってのを楽しんでみるさ。
おう。じゃあなおさら俺がいない方がいいな。
ああ、も 胃が痛い毎日とはおさらばだよ。じゃあな、もう警察の世話になんじゃねえぞ。
大丈夫だ。あいつと一緒なんだからな。
そうだな。
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot that this ended with Amazing Grace in the Japanese version also. Because it was always hilarious to me that this ends with Amazing Grace. I thought that was something they did for the dub. So in the end, it seems very apparent that Kazuma had Kiryu named the fourth chairman in order to, as a final bid to put Kiryu in a position of power. The same reason he wanted Kiryu to become the leader of his own family, of the Kiryu family, is the reason he named Kiryu as the fourth chairman, so that his legacy would be in a position of power to lead the Tojo clan. But in the end, when Kiryu looked around and saw, I have nothing, and I have nothing left to live for, Date reminded him of his vow that he can seize fate for himself, and his means of shaking off the reins of fate that Kazuma had laid out for him is in Haruka. It is only by choosing Haruka that Kiryu was finally able to achieve agency over his own life. This is the story of how Kiryu went from having his whole life planned out for him, even though he had no ambition and no real will or intent to rise to the top of his own. He was only being pushed there by the whims of others. And he didn't really have any complaints about it. He was drifting. He had no real reason to act on his own. But in the end, Kiryu finds his reason. He finds a reason to live for himself, and not just by the whims of others. So he rejects the plan that Kazuma laid out for his father, laid out for him, and becomes his own man. How? By becoming a father himself, and taking on the responsibility of raising Haruka as his daughter. And in doing so, he says, fuck being the fourth chairman of the Tojo clan, I'm a bounce. I'm out of this shit. And it seems very apparent, even in this game, that the reason he gave the title of chairman over to Terada is because he was the only guy still around for him to foist it off onto. I mean, there was really no other option. Someone's got to be chairman. All the other named characters are dead. So Terada gets the title by default by sheer virtue of being the only named Yakuza character still alive. So Kiryu is literally just going like, I don't want to do this. You. I know who you are. You're the chairman now. Fuck this. I'm out. Total. And like, that's like not responsible. Kiryu was not thinking that decision through as a decision that's made for the best of the Tojo clan. I mean, on the one hand, he is saying, fuck Kazuma's intentions and plans for me, I'm gonna go do my own thing. And that's liberating for his character, But in the end, he's still just ducking out on his responsibility to the Tojo clan and leaving it in a place where you didn't think your decision through, Kiryu. You didn't think about doing that for the sake of the Tojo clan and doing what's best for that organization. You did it in order to give yourself an out so that you could leave and not just leave it without anyone there to take care of it in your absence. You ditched it on Terada so that you could take Haruka and go. And, like, because Kiryu's the only person left at the end here who has an investment in the Yakuza organization, all he's gonna see is like, yeah, it's fine, Kazuma trusted him, whatever, he'll handle it. And he doesn't worry about it beyond that, because why the fuck does he care? He's gonna go start his new life with Haruka. But really, in the end, he's just ditching out on his responsibility to the Tojo clan. And that's something the later games will deal with. But in terms of the story of this first game, this is probably the most solid, tightly constructed narrative from beginning to end in the series. And, like, it has its weaknesses and its downsides and its flaws, but ultimately, it's a story about Kiryu. It's about his development and growth. It's his coming-of-age story, in a way. It's the story... It's the only game story in the series that's about Kiryu. Every other story has Kiryu involved in someone else's drama or dealing with fallout. This is the story that it's about Kiryu, it's about Nishiki, it's about his family drama, it's about him becoming a better man. It's the only story where he develops as a character. Kiryu, at the end of this game, is a different man than he was at the beginning of the game. The Kiryu that existed at the beginning of the game would have remained as the 4th chairman, and stuck around and dealt with that, and just did what was expected of him. But after everything that happened, and after meeting Haruka, he decided to take his life into his own hands. And he's finally making decisions for him, and what he wants to do. And what does he want to do? He wants to start a life with Haruka, his new adopted daughter, the daughter of the woman he loved, and the person who can bring out the best in him, and the person that he can act on the behalf of in order to embetter the world. So I really like the first Yakuza game. I think it has the most tight narrative. Future games might have better stories, but I think Yakuza 1 has the best narrative. I've made my case that I think Kiwami is a fine replacement for the original Yakuza 1. And a good place to jump in on the series with. Because there's nowhere to go from here but up.
すまない。待たしまったな。
この子と遊んでたから。私もう行かなくちゃ。元気でね。
連れてくか。
ここにいればこの子はお母さんと会えるかもしれないから。あ、お母さん。
ごめんね、ゆうちゃん。遅くなっちゃった。
ねえねえ、お母さん。サンタさん、今年も来てくれるかな。
そうね。ゆうちゃんがいい子にしてたらきっと来てくれるわ。
じゃあ私いい子にする。毎晩お母さんの肩叩いてあげるから。
あら、ほんと嬉しいわ。それじゃ
早くお家に帰ってサンタさんを迎える準備しないとね。おじさん、帰ろう。ねえ、おじさんは何歳までサンタさん信じてた？
えいや、いくつだっけな。
Look not to the past and what you have lost. Look to the future with that which you did not have. And I think that's a fine place to just, you know, if you want to bail out on that. I mean, this game was not written with the intention of being Yakuza 1. This game was written with the intention of being Ryuga Gotoku, like a dragon. That's it. That's the end. You know? This was not intended to be the first in a series. This was not... There's nothing that was really left dangling to be addressed in the sequel. This was a complete narrative with a beginning, middle, and end. And that ending was meant to be the ending for Kiryu. And, you know, the beginning of a new life. So, you know, it's open for a sequel, but that's another reason I hold this game's story in higher regard, is because that is a definitive conclusion for the story of Kiryu and Haruka. I'm gonna go with nah. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, so that was Yakuza 1. That took a long time. Thanks for watching. It's a good series. Probably not gonna jump immediately right into Yakuza 2. I want to do all of them, but I'm probably... to avoid burnout. I already had burnout while doing this game, so... there's probably gonna be a break. There's probably gonna be a... I'm probably not gonna start on Yakuza 2 right away. Let's close out with, this was originally a PS3 game. This game was developed on PS3 hardware with PS3 technology. And what did the PS3 have? Install-it game installs. You put the disc in, and you gotta install the game before you can start it, right? That's what the PS3 had. So they made these animations for the installation. So while you're waiting for the game to slowly install, they made these fun animations for you to watch so you won't get bored. And once you beat the game, you unlock the install animation to get you pumped up for the game while you're waiting. And we'll close out on that note. And then it loops. That's it. That's it. Feel your force. I don't know how to end videos. Goodbye.